Good morning, everyone. On this Thursday, I would like to continue talking a little bit about the aspect of the prophets of old who foretold about Jesus coming, as well as foretelling something that happened much more recently. And today I'd like to look a little bit at the prophet Hosea. And here in Hosea chapter 11, verse 1, we have this verse that reads, "When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son." Now, part of that prophetic message that Hosea gave was understood later on to be the example of God taking and pulling Israel out of Egypt, out of slavery, out of Egypt. And so there was that part of the prophetic message was already fulfilled. And yet, when Matthew looks back on these prophetic messages, he also reads something that spoke of another thing that was going to happen, and a male child coming out of Egypt at some future date. And he recognizes that what happened at the time of the Magi coming to see Jesus, they presented their gifts. And then, first of all, the Magi are told in the dream to go home another way and not report back to Herod. And Joseph is told in the dream to take Jesus and his wife and go to Egypt. They've been supplied with what they need by the Magi, the gifts that would provide for their journey and for the years that they spent in Egypt. And a few years later on, they received another dream to say that it was now safe to come back because Herod was dead. And so Matthew looks at this whole story and he recognizes there's a common theme here, where Israel, the hope of God, which is now in the name and the person of Jesus, was removed into Egypt for a time, and now God is calling him back to his home. It's really interesting how these prophecies have sort of a two-faceted approach to how they present the gospel, and how they present the message, and how they outlay what happens throughout history. There are many things that are said within the context of the Bible that were an encouragement for a time. For instance, when Jesus tells the disciples in Luke chapter 17 that they will do greater things than he has done. And they do greater things than what Jesus did while he was on earth. And yet it wasn't just them, but also we here in our time look back at and realize that God is still completing these greater things in us and through us for the sake of his kingdom. So I hope that's an encouragement to you, that God is not finished with you. No matter what he may have done in the past, it's not over. He will do more in your life as you allow him to work in your life, as you live with hands open, saying, "God, here I am. What would you have me accomplish for your kingdom's sake today?" Blessings this Advent season, and happy December 1st. Praying for you.